What is going on, everybody? My name is MCC and welcome back to another tier list video. Today I am bringing you the Walking Dead video that has been long awaited on my channel. And for this video I have a very special guest with me. We have D-Nads.
Yo, it's D-Nads here, and thanks for having me on, MCC. I'm so excited to rank these killers by their chances of surviving the Walking Dead apocalypse, and let's get straight into it.
And before we get into this video, let me explain the tiers for you guys so you understand what we're ranking. Coming in at S tier is we have they survive all seasons. So these people are the top of the tier. They would survive every single season, and they are the masterminds of The Walking Dead in a sense, I guess you would say. Survives almost all, which means they almost survive every single season, but just not really. They won't really get to the top tier. Dies in a couple of seasons, which means they're kind of mid, and survives only one season is they're completely cooked. Now coming in first, we have our glorious king, Brian Moger. Now, in my opinion, Brian has it all. He has combat skills. He even outsmarted Dexter and stalked Dexter from Original Sin, and even beat Dexter in hand-to-hand. So right off the bat, Brian has the skills to defend himself against zombies, and even just the drama that comes with the humans in the community in The Walking Dead. And second of all, he's smart. He's a prosthetics doctor. He went through school. He knows his way around life, and he knows how to maneuver. So I mean, 100% in my opinion, I do think Brian survives all seasons.
I mean, honestly, you listed a wide variety of his skills, and I guess that does hype him up to survive quite a lot of seasons, but I wouldn't exactly put him in survives all seasons just because this guy's mental state is pretty whack. He's not as controlled as someone like Dexter, and we see that that is one of his biggest flaws, and that essentially got him killed in the original show because he let his stupid psychopathic tendencies cloud his vision, right? Honestly, I would have to put him in
Almost
maybe dies in a couple seasons, bro. I mean,
okay.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's what I think. I don't know. What do you think of that?
I think he survives almost all because Brian is kind of almost comparable, if not comparable, to Dexter. Because in my opinion, I think Brian is smarter than Dexter. He has better social awareness. He knows how to talk to people. He has a better degree. Not even just degree, because I mean, a degree won't mean anything in a post-apocalyptic world. I feel like Brian just knows how to maneuver throughout life more than Dexter, because Dexter grew up in a household with Harry and Deborah. Brian grew up with nothing. He literally was by himself throughout his entire life. He was abandoned and then boom, sent straight to foster care. He doesn't even have a father figure, mother figure, or even a brother figure. So I feel like he could survive almost all, maybe not all seasons, but he does have the resources that he knows how to maneuver through life on his own. And I feel like that's key in surviving a post-apocalyptic world, because if you know how to survive on your own, I feel like he has the chances to survive. So in a couple of seasons, I don't know, maybe almost all. We'll meet in the middle. Okay.
After you said all that, honestly, I agree.
And next we have Patrick Baitman. Now, honestly, I don't even have to argue this. I'm putting Patrick Baitman in survives one season because let me just say this right now. Patrick Baitman doesn't live in the modern world if he doesn't wake up and have his skincare routine, if he doesn't wake up and hop in his beautiful Mercedes, if he doesn't wake up and have his clothes fully ironed, washed, dried, etc. Literally anything the modern world presents to Patrick Baitman. If he doesn't have social status, if he's just in a post-apocalyptic world with none of the traits that make him him, he's gonna probably blow his brains out.
MCC, I have to totally agree with you. I mean, the Sigma himself, he's kind of a coward at heart, and honestly, kind of a little baby. I mean, like you said, he has his little perfect skincare routine and all his little accessories, and when it hits the fan, I mean, he's gonna just crumble down into a sad hole of misery, and I think it's perfect to say he survives one season. I don't really think he has crazy skills. I mean, he is in shape. He could probably run a lot, running away from walkers, but I mean, honestly, he's, like we said for Brian Moser, he is unhinged, but nonetheless, he needs all these high-class objects subjects that fortunately will probably not be present in a post-apocalyptic world. So I definitely have to agree with you on that one.
And next, we have our boy Light Yagami. Now, the tricky thing is with Light Yagami, he uses the Death Note. He basically has a supernatural book where he writes down names into the book and then the people die immediately. So for Light Yagami, he uses his Death Note to basically kill people. So in a sense, Light Yagami, if he's going up against people like, I don't know, Shane or Rick, he could, kill them with a Death Note and it'll be just that and there because he could see their faces and know their name. Like, that wouldn't really be a challenge in a post-apocalyptic world. There's really no cat and mouse games. And since we're not talking about these characters versus other characters in The Walking Dead, we're only talking about if they could survive the apocalyptic world, like against the walkers. Don't get me wrong, Light Yagami is probably the smartest character on this list, right next to Hannibal Lectar, and he does possess really good combat skills, but the thing is, his book wouldn't really work on the walkers because, first of all, the walkers won't even tell you their name if they could, and he can see their face, but the thing is, he doesn't have the Shinigami eyes. He didn't unlock that, and so if he wanted to kill a zombie, he would have to know their name and their face, and since the zombies aren't just going to tell you their names, since they're dead and they can't really speak, and I don't even know if the book would even work on a already undead person, but it maybe, let's just say it would, he wouldn't even know their name unless he uses the Shinigami eyes, so the book would kind of be rendered useless. But then again, he is very intelligent, and intelligence in a post-apocalyptic world is gonna get you really far. Honestly, I would have to say he survives all seasons just because of his intelligence alone, and he does have somewhat of a supernatural book on his side.
Now, although I don't know this character much, I mean, based off what Movie Critics Club said, this guy is very intelligent, and like you said, intelligence in Walking Dead or any post-apocalyptic world is definitely something that will get you far in the long run. I think that him having good fighting skills will definitely allow him to survive multiple, if not all, seasons of The Walking Dead, so have to agree with that one.
And next, we have the person that we all glaze the most on both of our channels. We have Dexter Morgan, and right off the bat, do we even need to explain this? Let's just say he survives all seasons because we're that much of glazers. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, as Dexter Morgan glazers, we have to give him survives all season. He is way more stable than Baitman, I think. Although he's considered a sociopath still, he has some control to some extent. And although I think his Dark Passenger wouldn't be cured by just killing walkers, because technically walkers are dead in some sort of sense, I think that he'd be able to use his ability or Dark Passenger or whatever you want to call it for good, helping people from the group like Rick or others that can't make the tough calls and tough decisions to kill the bad guys, right? So I think that he would survive all seasons, and the walkers would be an easy playthrough for him. I mean, walkers in The Walking Dead are not crazy fast, so I definitely think Dexter would be able to, make his way through with ease in terms of killing walkers.
And next we have Hannibal Lectar. Now, I mean, without a doubt, Hannibal Lectar. Honestly, I would even throw him over Light Yagami just because Light Yagami doesn't really have the book against the walkers. Hannibal Lectar is an absolute genius. I already said Light Yagami might be the smartest person, but Hannibal Lectar is definitely tied with Light Yagami in intelligence, and Hannibal Lectar's combat skills I wouldn't say far exceeds Dexter's, but in my opinion, I do have Hannibal's combat skills over Dexter's. I know it's kind of controversial. People say, oh no, Dexter has better combat skills than Hannibal, but in my opinion, from what I've seen in the TV show, I would like to conclude that Hannibal has better combat skills than Dexter. Hannibal just knows what he's doing at all times. He's always 10 steps ahead of every human, so he's going to be 5 steps ahead of every single walker, and he knows how to survive. He's been surviving his entire life, and even as a kid he's been surviving, by the way. It wasn't just his adulthood when he was killing. He had to survive when he was a child. Hannibal Lectar, without a doubt, is surviving all seasons, and honestly, he's over these two with no diff in the Walking Dead sense. And next we have Joe Goldberg. So Joe, in a post-apocalyptic world, without women, even though there is women in The Walking Dead, it's kind of like Joe Goldberg's nightmare. Let's be real. So if Joe Goldberg has no woman to obsess over and kill for, I mean, he probably might find a woman in The Walking Dead. I'm not saying he wouldn't, because his charm and love is through the roof, so eventually probably will, and he probably would, and that will probably enhance him in the Walking Dead aspect. And also, Joe's survivability skills are also through the roof. The way he reacts to situations on his feet is also very crucial in a post-apocalyptic world. Let's say Joe doesn't find a woman, because women and men, or just humans in general, are kind of limited in a post-apocalyptic world. So I mean, if Joe can't get his hands on a woman, yeah, he's cooked. To be honest, he's cooked. So with Joe Goldberg, even though he has a lot of good feats, I just don't see him surviving all seasons, because what if all women die? Or what if all the women that would only talk to him die, and all the other women are like, ugh, disgusted in him, because they're like, honestly, without a woman by his side, he just really, in my opinion, would die in a couple of seasons.
Yeah, I'm happy with that ranking. Joe Goldberg, he's good at what he does, but he's not no Dexter. And honestly, although I think you giving him credit on being able to be on his feet and etc., I would have to say that honestly, against the walkers, I mean, obviously he could take on walkers at a time, but I think when there's 3 or more involved, this guy would be undoubtedly cooked. To be honest, after I watched season 5, one of the scenes that made me think Joe isn't as good as we thought he was when he had his fight with Reagan. Now, although I don't know if Reagan has martial arts expertise, but it kind of looked like she did, Joe kind of got his rocked in that fight, and I think that's something that proves us that he isn't as good in hand-to-hand as we thought he was. And in The Walking Dead, that is something that is really important, considering that weapons aren't always available and that ammo is extremely low.
100%, and I think dies in a couple of seasons is, honestly, you could argue survives almost all if he does have a woman by his side, because he's the White Knight God. But since there are a limited amount of humans, I think dies in a couple of seasons is correct for Joe Goldberg. And next we have Billy Butcher.
So for Billy Butcher, I'm gonna have to put him in survives all season. Now in The Boys, we saw that he has a lot of fighting skills, and this is talking about Billy when he's not even on Compound V. We see how he's able to basically take down gods with his humanistic abilities, and it's quite impressive to say the least. In The Walking Dead, I think that he'd thrive because he's kind of a sick bastard, if we're being honest, and aside from his fighting skills, he's also quite intelligent if we really think about it, and he's able to have that gut feeling about people, which would allow him to detect those that are kind of crazies, like say Brian Moser, and those that he could trust, allowing him to survive all seasons thoroughly with a bit of difficulty.
So yeah, Billy Butcher is basically the Sam and Dean Winchester of The Boys. This guy goes up against Soups like it's his breakfast. I mean, he goes toe to toe with Homelander. Obviously, yes, he has some help. I mean, kind of just like Sam and Dean have some help against gods. I mean, it's gods, for God's sakes. So yeah, this guy goes up against Soups, enhanced beings that could fly. So yeah, against some puny little zombies, I mean, like, come on, this isn't even like a joke. And next we have Barry Burkeman. Now, honestly, could go in survives almost all just because of his emotional state throughout the show. Like, he's very conflicted whether he wants to be a killer or not. But I mean, I guess in a post-apocalyptic world, you kind of have no, like, choice. You kind of have to be a killer, but then again, you're not killing, well, you do kill humans sometimes circumstantially in The Walking Dead. That does happen. I guess we'll put him in survives all seasons just because, and honestly we'll put him above Dexter and Billy just because of his combat skills are through the roof. If you put a gun in Barry Burkeman's hand, he's clearing out an entire house within mere seconds. This guy has aimbot IRL. He's completely insane. But then again, there is limited ammo in The Walking Dead because it's kind of hard to make ammo and get ammo when there's really no civilization around. around. So without guns, Barry Burkeman low-key survives almost all seasons, but if he does have like an unlimited amount of guns, he survives all.
So yeah, I mean, Barry Burkeman is ex-military and he has a lot of training in that type of sector. Now, I think you could interpret it in multiple ways, like you mentioned, with or without guns. Now, with guns, of course, Barry Burkeman is insane, and like you said, he kind of has IRL aimbot. But without, although I don't think he would die in a couple of seasons, he's not to his full potential. He still has some hand-to-hand combat skills and also probably has some training with knife. Now, I think that him being put in survives almost all or survives all seasons depends on, like you said, his emotional state. I think that after a while, depending on what happens and who he's with, he'd maybe end up pulling the gun on himself because he just can't take it anymore. But if he does keep up his mental state, I think that he'd definitely survive all seasons because he has some intelligence, but definitely wouldn't be ahead of people like Dexter or Billy Butcher.
And last but not least, we have Ghostface. Now, since there are tons of Ghostface, because there is many Scream movies, and every single Scream movie they have a different killer, the thing is, we'll just do the original because it's good just to stick with the original. So we'll do Billy and Stu. Now, Billy and Stu, I mean, I'll give it to them. They're smart. They've done what other people normally can't do, just as high schoolers. So if you just throw those two high schoolers in a post-apocalyptic world, they're kind of just gonna get cooked. I really don't think Billy and Stu can survive zombies because, to be honest, they couldn't even win against a woman in a 2v1, by the way. So yeah, they go in one season, and to be honest, I would put Patrick Bateman below Ghostface. Oh, actually, you guys can decide in the comments who gets the better spot, Ghostface or Patrick. But yeah, that's the tier list. Did me and D-Nads cook or not, or are we just complete failures and you guys should just dislike this video? And yeah, I'll see ya.